everyone, and welcome to She Rides, a podcast where women's cycling takes lead. I'm Saar.
And I'm Kristof, and today we're diving into the latest race results and hot topics in women's cycling.
Let's get started. Ready? Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 75 of She Rides. Of course, we're in the middle of the Spanish block. I think most people who follow women's cycling are aware of that. But we are also we have like some sort of a racing block here going on as well in Belgium with some of the smaller races, which is always excited to check those results. So we thought we might as well get someone who is doing like her first full season right here in Belgium. Hi, Anna.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, super nice to have you on. Maybe your name is not too familiar yet. I think we can say that. So maybe you should just like kick off and start by introducing
My
yourself.
name's Anna Dubier, and I've just stepped up into my first year in under 23 category. I have done both track and road cycling. I think I'm a bit more known on the track as a junior world champion in the points race. I was the under-19 national road race champion for Australia last year. So I do dabble in a bit of both disciplines. And I'm now doing a bit of a block in Belgium here with Koekens Redoubt. And I'm staying in Belgium for about 5 months till end of September. And I'll be doing a few 1.1 races and as well as the local kermesses too.
Well, super nice. I don't think we've had too much riders who have this kind of program yet in our podcast. So it's always like nice to hear from like still a cyclist, but like who's living in a completely different like part of the cycling world. So nice we can talk about you with this. But like, first of all, how did you actually get to your bike? Because I guess the motivation must be quite high if you cross multiple oceans to come here and do some
Yeah,
conversion.
definitely. Cycling is not popular in Australia at all, and that's why you see a lot of us will come to Europe for long stints away from home. But I got into cycling because my father did cycling when he lived in India, and he was national champion in India too. He was national champion on the track, but he also did road as well when he was younger. And then my mum comes from a triathlete background, and she represented Australia at the World Championships for triathlon. So I come from a very sporting background, and I think, with both parents doing cycling at some sort of level, it sort of pushes you into that direction. But I did athletics as well for a very long time, and I was a pretty good middle distance runner, so it came to a point where I had to choose between cycling or athletics, and I think I ultimately chose cycling because of the freedom it gave me and the places that I would be able to travel on my bike.
Yeah, that's super nice. As you mentioned, you've had quite some nice and great results already so far, but it's not like an easy decision to just like leave everything behind to come racing here for a couple of months. So what was like that final push that made you go like, okay, this is just something I gotta do?
I think it was sort of seeing people in Australia, like older female athletes, make that decision to be like, yes, I want to go to Europe, and yes, I want to stay in Europe and race in Europe. And I think hearing stories from them, the older girls, and how they speak so highly of the racing here and how it's like a completely different environment to Australia, and Australia doesn't really prepare you the best for those race conditions. You sort of want to seek out yourself. It sort of sparks a bit of curiosity for yourself, and I think that sort of made me want to make that jump, want to push myself and put myself into a situation that's a bit unknown.
So like you already said, like you're up and coming. You're not a super well-known name yet in Europe on the road cycling, but you're working on that. Let's be. But like you said, you already have a kind of pedigree on the track. So you started on the velodrome before making really your big name on the road as well. What drew you to track cycling specifically?
It was also my dad too, because he was national champion on the track. So I think it was a bit of both. And I think in Australia, the skills that you're able to learn on the track really help when you go to Europe, because it's sort of you're really close together, you're bunched together, whereas the road racing just in Australia, you don't have to fight so hard and you don't get pushed around as much. So I think it definitely went hand in hand, and it definitely helped. And I do enjoy track racing because so much can happen in a 20-minute race and the emotions are really, really high.
Yeah, and then what's the biggest lesson from the velodrome that you take with you now that you're racing on the road in Belgium here?
Biggest lesson is definitely like hold your ground, like because as soon as people realize that you can be pushed around quite easily, everyone pushes you around, so you sort of have to put yourself in a spot and be like, no, I'm holding my position and I'm okay to be challenged for this position, but I'm gonna win that challenge.
And you call yourself a pure bunch racer, so how do you hide your fatigue when your legs are gone? But
With a
you really need to look fresh, of course.
with a really good poker face, definitely with a good poker face.
Yeah, well,
And to hide as much as possible, I think the positioning is probably one of my strongest suits, and to know at what point on the course to position well for. I think there's spots in the course where you can afford to be further back or in the middle of the peloton, but there are like the key critical moments where it's like you must be towards the front, and I think that sort of stress sort of helps me position really well too. I think I need that a bit of a pressure to be like, oh, if you're not in the best position now, then it could end up really, really bad. And I think yeah, when the stress hits, I can perform pretty well.
yeah, then you speed away like last Saturday.
Yeah.
First breakaway was the good one, and then you finish it off in the
Yeah,
sprint.
exactly.
Nice job. In 2025, you won nationals, Oceanian championships, worlds in the
Yeah.
points race before Apeldoorn. Pure confidence.
There wasn't much thinking behind that. That wasn't the plan. That wasn't the plan. The Europeans race really high up on the track, and in Australia we don't race like that at all. So that was a little bit nerve-wracking. When everyone would go really high and quite slow, you would always think, oh, there's going to be a crash. So I just sort of dived down and then did a bit of a longer turn. I think I went for like half a lap on the front in the hopes that like everyone would swing down and follow me so we could stay towards the bottom of the track. And I looked back when I went to swing up and nobody was behind me. And I think the voice just played in my head. It's like, it's the World Championships. Like, if you get an opportunity, you must do it. So then I think I committed then. It was a very like spur of the moment decision, and it wasn't really the plan for that points race, but I don't really like to go into track races with such a big plan because a lot can change and a lot can happen, and especially at the World Championships where you don't know those riders as well and you don't know how they race and you're sort of going into it a little bit blind. So yeah, that was the decision to sort of commit then and then go for the lap and make sure I didn't catch them before the first sprint and made sure I got myself the 5 points and then made to the back of the peloton, and then sort of went into survival mode for about 40 laps just to like recover and reset and get ready if another potential lap take happened, which it did. And thankfully, like, I was fresh enough to jump on with them and made sure I was there to take the lap with them, because I knew, you know, if I took 2 laps and I took a couple points along the way, I would be pretty hard to beat. So that sort of gave me the confidence when I was with them taking the second lap that, you know what, like, this rainbow jersey is going to be put around my shoulders. And I started getting quite excited with about 10 laps to go that it was going to happen for me.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, and when you decide to go, like, stick to the plan on the track. Don't do things half.
Yeah, exactly. It was just full commitment.
Yeah, you have to. And then in the final 250 meters, when you like actually realized you won the rainbow jersey, Anna, what did that actually feel like? Did it come in already before you like when you told us like 10 laps before you were already like, oh, I'm gonna do this? Like, did you really realize it when you came over the finish line?
Yeah, I sat up that whole last lap and then I made sure that I was celebrating across the finish line. I think it's quite powerful when you're able to finish last in the final lap, celebrating with your arms in the air, knowing that you've done enough the entire race to win and you never had to sprint for the final sprint. Like, that didn't even matter anymore. So I think it was surreal. There was definitely a lot of emotions, and it was sort of a bit of relief at the same time, knowing that your countless hours training for that event weren't wasted. Like it ended up being really
Yeah.
successful and really helpful. So yeah, I think relief and obviously huge excitement, and then just knowing that my family back at home who were up at like 3 a.m. watching the live stream in Australia were cheering really loudly. And I remember finishing that race and hopping off, and then I had a voice message recording on my phone from my family. I remember playing that, and it was just all of them screaming on the other side. So excited for me.
Yeah, and it looks kind of badass too, Anna. That you just all the rest is still sprinting for that double points last sprint, and you're like, "Hi, mom, I just
Yeah.
won." Whatever they do.
Literally, yeah. I think the most stressful part of that race was catching the Australian flag and making sure I never like dropped it into my bike. And
Yeah.
that was like the most stress. I probably felt that entire race because I saw them dangling out the flag for me to catch, and I was like, oh my goodness, I actually have to catch this and not mess it up.
Don't make a stupid
Yeah,
tuning mistake
exactly.
now. Yeah. Okay, and then you won bronze
Yep.
in the Madison with Emily
Yes.
Sanders too. So
That was
how do you build that telepathic trust with a partner under that pressure? Because it's Madison, you're U19, so it's not easy.
it's
Like it's
It's
chaos.
definitely
Anyway.
a lot of chaos, and we did have a few training sessions beforehand, her and I together. And unfortunately, we live in 2 separate states in Australia, so we don't actually see each other at all for it. But I think what definitely helps is that her and I are very similar riders, and we sort of think the same in the race, and we sort of have the same plan when we go into a race. So it helps that we both sort of know what each other is going to do. And because we've raced with each other across so many years, we sort of know each other's strengths and weakness, and we know when each other is suffering. And it's sort of helpful to have a rider that is quite smart like that as your Madison partner. When you make a spur of the moment decision in a race, like you may attack off the front in the hopes to throw it in really early for the sprint, and she's aware that that's what you're doing and that's why you're doing it. So I think that definitely helped. Just having 2 really well connected riders that are quite smart in a Madison put together can definitely produce a great result, even if they don't get as much training together as, say, other teams would have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And since winning that world title, Anna, have you noticed a shift in how rivals race against you?
Yeah.
Do you get like less freedom
Yeah,
now?
definitely.
Do you have a bullseye on you marked on your back now?
I think it definitely like puts you, people hold you sort of higher, and people sort of look at you and you're like, oh well, you're a world champion, like you chase and things like that. So it's sort of, you can't really get away with as much as you could have beforehand, and you're definitely picked a little bit more of like a favorite in the race for a sprint finish, like in a criterium, like that sort of a points race suited rider. And it's definitely like sort of like you're picking me as a favorite now. Like that's shocking. Like I want to fly under the radar. I don't want to be the spotlight. Like yeah.
You're wearing the wrong jersey for that to stay out of the spotlight. It's meant to be a spotlight, the whole
Yeah.
rainbow jersey. Not easy
No,
to
it's
hide.
not.
And do you already like notice a shift in the road races as well, Anna? Because now you took that first win on Saturday, and then your results are like pretty impressive for a the first timer that's coming over to Belgium.
Yeah,
So do you already like see a difference like from the first races you did and like right now?
I don't see much of a difference because I think I'm just sort of scraping in with a few top 10s. Like that's been quite consistent. And I think the Saturday race was a U23 and U19. And I think a few of those girls in that race I've raced in the past. Like this is my 4th time in Belgium, so I know a lot of the other girls already, and I think a lot of the other girls know me or know who I am. It's just sort of now that I'm more consistently racing in the elite field, they don't really know me and I don't really know them. So it's sort of a learning curve in the middle of the race or in the final like kilometer to decide like, oh, who's good and who are they leading out and who's going to go well for the sprint and what position I need to be in and whose wheel I need to be on. Because I think when you've done so many of the under 19 and junior races, those people are all you know. And then when you get put into the elite field, it's like, a whole other different range of people. So it's not just people that are your age anymore, and it sort of opens up to new riders, and then they don't know you and you don't know them really.
Yeah, super, super interesting. So let's go zoom in a bit more about your experience here in Belgium. So first, what's the biggest culture shock here? Is it like something from the daily life, from the racing? Tell us, can be super
There's definitely
red.
multiple, but I think the biggest one that I notice here is that everyone gives way to cyclists. They're sort of treated like royalty on the road, and even if we have to give way to a car, the car is more than happy to like stop for you and let you ride through. And in Australia, we don't have that. It's always the cyclists must be giving way to the cars, and it's you have to be really hyper alert. And yeah, that's definitely shocked me a lot, because sometimes they'll stop in the middle of a roundabout to let you ride through, and it's tough because it's like you've stopped and then they've stopped, so now two people have stopped, and then it's like, oh, so then do you go or do I go? Like, what's the etiquette here? And when I ride with other like Belgians or other Europeans, they sort of ride with a lot more confidence into intersections. And it's sort of like they know that they're treated as like higher than the other cars. And yeah, that shocks me.
Well, we
Well,
did the reckon today of Tour of Flanders with our juniors, Anna. They're not everywhere super gentle and polite to cyclists. Trust me.
Maybe not on the Tour of Flanders course, because that course does get quite narrow.
Yeah. Anyway.
well, I was just gonna say good that we gave her a good culture shock, Christoph, but like you had to break the big ring. Thanks for that. But well, good bridging there to Tour of Flanders. So yeah, you did that one
Yes.
as well with the
Yes.
juniors, of course. So yeah, what was the experience like for you at home? I don't think you really have like one of those cobble
No.
climbs just around the corner waiting for you to practice on. So yeah, how
It
was that?
was surreal. I think Tour of Flanders was one of my top races that I've ever done, like one of my favorites. Yeah, in Australia, coming to Belgium was my first time ever riding on cobblestones. So I'd never ridden on cobblestones before. So you just get sort of just stuck into it a little bit and not think about it too much. But yeah, Tour of Flanders, I think the course for the juniors is quite good. It's a shame that they don't go up any cobbled climbs at all. I mean, there are still really short, punchy climbs, but yeah, cobbled climbs would definitely bring a bit more of the Flanders sort of spirit to it. But there is a decent cobbled section in it that's pretty nasty and feels like an uphill at some stages. But yeah, I think last year it was a huge experience when you're racing on roads where there's almost people on every section of the road and they're all cheering for you, and you hear sometimes people cheering your name and you don't know who they are, and it's really special to have someone who's a fan of you and cheering you on. And I think yeah, that race was crazy to be on a podium and getting like presented like for team presentation and then getting interviewed on the team presentation. It was just so professional, and yeah, I don't think we have anything really like that in Australia.
Yeah. Flanders Classics does well with that. Yeah, so back to like, yeah, so you've been involved in some bench sprints here because like the smaller level Belgian races are mostly
Yeah.
flat. So yeah, how do you read like a road bench sprint differently from like a track finish? Obviously the bench is most of the
Yeah.
time bigger, but where's the different apart from
I
that?
think for the road sprint in Belgium, it's good that the kermesses, you do several laps, so you sort of get to see the finish numerous times, and it definitely helps if there's preems in it, because I normally like to try and go for one of the intermediate sprints just to see when to start sprinting and what side of the road to start sprinting on and where the gaps open up and things like that. So I think that's definitely a bit of a warm-up practice for the actual sprint. And I think it's more about positioning and moving to the front quite late. Like you don't want to be towards the front really early on, because then you end up getting swamped, as they say, the washing machine effect. And you can go from the front and then all of a sudden to 70th position in like 200 meters, and then you're just shocked there, like you don't know what happened. So I think you have to get there quite late, and it's yeah, it's a bit of a risk, and you also have to get a bit lucky if the gap does open up. And I think if there are big teams there and there's lead-out trains happening, then you have to be the ones fighting for the back of those lead-out trains. So then other riders also have that same idea to be fighting for the back of a lead-out train. So then it becomes a bit more of a pushing battle and a bit more banging bars. And I think that's quite different because you don't have lead-out trains, and you don't have like a 5 wide coming to a sprint or 6 wide coming into a sprint. I think it's just managing that position really well and picking the correct wheels that are going to move forward in the sprint.
So, what I was just saying was that, yeah, of course, racing in Europe when you're not from Europe and actually, like, literally not close at all to Europe is, yeah, it comes with a serious price tag, I think, for everyone who has the ambition to. But yeah, you're also super young, so like, what does the financial reality look like for you?
It's a big cost. You obviously have the flight as a big cost, and then accommodation. So thankfully my team has a team house here, which is free for me, but you can imagine trying to find accommodation for 5 months isn't very cheap at all. And then on top of that, you also have the insurance cost as well. So you're looking at a good sort of $5,000 for the flights and the insurance, and then your food bills, and then thankfully I don't have that accommodation cost, but you can imagine the accommodation cost would be several more grand on top of that. And the exchange rate for the Aussie dollar isn't the best either. The Aussie dollar is worth 0.6 of what euro is, so it's pretty much not great when it comes to converting things. When you look at stuff in the shops, it's sort of like you sort of have to double it and then minus a few dollars, and you're like, it's a lot more expensive than you thought. When you look at it and it'd be like, oh, it's €10. It's not actually 10 Australian dollars. It's closer to 7. Yeah, it's a lot of money, and I think when I'm at home in Australia, I always get reminded by my family, who I'm thankful that are quite supportive of me, that we do prioritize saving money for Europe, and obviously Europe is the ultimate goal every year to get to, and I think we need to make sure that I don't lose sight of that goal, and it's what I want to do, and it's what I want to save my money for as well. And we sort of put it all together and then look at what we have and then look at what's available for us. And I think it's also really good to seek out teams that are quite supportive of international riders and sort of understand that it's quite hard. And yeah, it's definitely a huge cost, but it's helpful to have parents that are really, really supportive of it, because there aren't many parents that would want to throw away so much money for a dream.
Nah, it's not throwing away, but it's indeed very nice that they are so supportive of
Yeah.
you. You do have a platform right here, so I saw a link in your bio where people can support you, so maybe you can
That's correct.
do a quick
there's a link in
why they should support you.
Yeah, there's a link in my bio that sort of is a fundraising page that I've sort of set up, that I have a couple benefactors that donate to it, that, my team back that I was racing for in Australia knows, and they've been really helpful in helping me find the money. And, I'm really thankful for the money that has been raised on that page, because that helps a lot, especially when it's sort of like my parents are sort of, do you need money? I remember last year it would always be the call back home, and then it's sort of like you're striking up a conversation, but ultimately it's, Mum, can you send me more money? Or Dad, can you send me more money? And you sort of have to sit there and talk to them for like 10 minutes just to like make sure that's not the whole point of your call. So yeah, it's definitely really helpful telling my parents, like, no, like, I'm all sorted, like, I'm all good, like, I have money, and like, don't stress, because obviously for them it's the added stress of making sure I have enough money, making sure, I'm eating right, making sure I have enough money for food, and just sort of your basic things, not necessarily like the traveling or the shopping. It's just having enough to sort of get by. So yeah, I think
Well, so link in Anna's bio, and we'll probably
yes.
post it on our socials as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So again, something completely different. So I guess you felt that in Belgium, cycling is almost a religion. Like in
Yeah.
if there's a cyclist who's a bit more known in a village, he has a fan page, maybe even like a fan cafe to celebrate the results. So, but if you go back like to Australia, do you feel like that people are like following you or like keeping track of your results, or is it all like very niche and low profile?
It's quite low profile, but in the cycling little world, as tight knit as it is in Australia, everyone sort of knows everyone and everyone sort of keeps up to date with everyone's results. I think there are definitely a lot of people in Australia that have pro cycling stats as a really quick open tab that's always in their browser, so they're making sure that they're searching everyone up. I think it's definitely the people that you're friends with in Australia will know, but I think if someone isn't interested in cycling or is only partially interested in cycling, they wouldn't have that much of an idea.
Yeah, you've told us already about your culture shock here coming to Belgium, but like
Yeah.
we'll just turn the question around. What is like the funniest misconception European riders have about Australia?
I think the funniest misconception, I think a lot of them don't realize that we're Australian. I think they always jump into thinking that we're British or American. And then when you tell them, no, you're from Australia, they're like, Australia? That's a long way from home. I think that's what that shocks them the most, that you're Australian, because that's not usually their first guess. And I don't think I would classify myself as having a really strong Aussie accent. It might be different for you guys, but I don't classify it as a super strong Aussie accent. I definitely don't think it's British, and I definitely don't think it's American, but they seem to always jump to those two options first, and then when you tell them that you're from Australia, it shocks them quite heavily. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they don't expect Aussie riders to be in their peloton.
No,
Okay.
can confirm, Anna, your accent is quite okay. We have 4 Aussies in our U19 team.
Oh.
There's some of them with an Aussie accent. Let's say it like that. That you have to sometimes like,
Yeah.
whoa, what did you just like mumble? Like, so
Yeah,
so
I
you're
think
completely fine.
it's where it's where you live in Australia. It changes like how Aussie you are, and I think if you live a bit towards the city, it's not as strong. But if you're a bit more of a country person, then it definitely comes out a lot more. Like I notice it. Like I'd be like, wow, that's a really strong Aussie accent.
So Saar, are you then ready to make the bridge to some actual cycling that happened
Yeah,
the
of
past
course.
couple of weeks?
Yeah. I just think before we get to the racing, which was, of course, the most exciting part of it all, we do have to, send our prayers and thoughts to everyone who loved Jelke Michielsen, of course, the young cyclist who passed away last week due to bone cancer. We knew for a while she was not doing very good, but yeah, when something like this happened, I think it's quite a shock for everyone for the cycling world. So yeah, I think we can say we're thinking about her loved ones. Some of our guests who were super super close with her, so we're sending them a lot of love, and yeah, we won't forget her. So that was I think something that mainly overshadowed this week of racing. Let's
Yeah,
just that in mind.
we all tend to like go fast to the order of the day again and to the races
Yeah.
again, and then good thing that you mentioned it, Sarah, Sarah, because I was already again like in the flow of like racing. So, but you're
Mm-hmm.
100% right. This is way too soon. It's unfair, especially the way it went. It's always unfair. I mean, these things shouldn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I
we wish the
remember
family and
I
friends the
remember
best.
Yeah, I remember when I came here as an under 17, I raced her in one of the
Mm.
races, and she got third and I got second, and I think that was the first time like, I knew who she was. So I didn't know her personally, but I think just knowing that I shared a podium with someone that special, and then I obviously saw how big of a personality she had and how motivational she was, and then sort of seeing her at such a high level in her career and then sort of watching it take a turn for the worst is quite upsetting. And it was sort of, even as an outlooker, as someone who didn't really know, you go seeing from someone who's achieving your goal and wants to do what you want to achieve as well. And then, yeah, I think it's quite sad, but I did appreciate how, the races that I did on Saturday and Sunday, we all had a moment of silence before the start for her, and I think that was quite special.
Yeah.
And let's just remember Jilke's life quote, like don't complain, just continue. Like
Yeah.
that's it's apparently who she was. Like just like you, Anna. I have no personal relationship where I didn't know her personally, but that was apparently who she was. She was like, well, it happened. This is just
Yeah.
let's not complain. Let's move forward and make the best of it,
Yeah.
even in the shittiest of days. So let's
Yeah.
remember her like that. Let's all act a little bit more like her spirit that she had. The world
Yeah.
would be in a better place. But
Yeah.
yeah, just
Yeah.
my 2 cents.
Okay. I felt that needed to be mentioned because life in general goes so quickly, and the cycling world as a whole as well. Like, okay, we had that race. Okay, now this one comes, and okay, whoa, we have this new talent, and now it's normal that she's gonna win everything. And ooh, you had a bad day, now you're washed for life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should always keep her in mind. And horrible news last week. We also had quite some racing next to it as well. We had Itzulia, which is personally always one of my favorite races of the year. Like the racing is so nice. It's like almost always exciting. I was chatting with one of our guests in the Vries, like the final stage. And he was like, how is this the least exciting stage while we still have like all these sort of weird situations going on? So I think that just showed how the race is. Like, I cannot really explain. We'll just start with the first day, and already there it was like, yeah, not the expected names that came up being the strongest. Just gonna get that result of that stage already here.
Misha won that.
Yeah. But I wanna just like quickly say who were, because Vlodarczyk wasn't there, which we
No.
expected her to be there. So all of a sudden we had like Kastelein, Marcus, Dixon, Niedermayer, and Bredewold, who were like the best climbers of the race. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck is happening? Lippert wasn't there, Ostelaza wasn't there, Bauernfeind and others. I was like, whoa, this is already like a weird start to the race. Which, yeah, it just shows what Itzulia is like when like Vollering or someone like that isn't competing. So like, love the dynamics of the race. And then we it's something we saw the whole race. Niedermayer just kept pulling and pulling and pulling some more.
She was the best climber of the race. That was for sure.
Yeah. And then, yeah, on the flat as well, she kept pulling because I guess the plan was GC, but yeah, she maybe should have tried to save it a bit more and maybe try and attack instead of like just pulling for in the end. Yeah. But okay,
Yeah, I
the
think
first.
she's definitely
Yeah.
she's definitely a rider. She definitely is a rider that sort of likes to do a lot of work and stick her nose in the wind. And I think a lot of the other riders know that that's what her plan is, and it sort of makes it a little bit predictable and sort of not very exciting from her. So I think, yeah, I agree. I think she should have saved it a little bit and then tried something a bit more surprising for her sort of rider.
Yeah.
Because it
And
was
the problem
obvious
is,
she had the legs. I mean, there was nobody climbing better than she was in those 3 stages. So she had the legs, she had the form.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then you just have the bad luck that it's 3 days. So your competitors remember the day before and they were like, oh, there you were pulling. I guess today you will be pulling as well. And yeah, then you come into this vicious circle. And then, yeah, she did not end up winning, disclaimer. But yeah, Misha was, she showed it in the Vuelta. She's climbing very, very well. I was really impressed because I was like, oh, that's this parkour, like I feel like it will be like if the climbers really go hard. I'm a bit like, will she make it? But
yeah, she did.
Yeah, she looked so incredibly strong. It was great. Also in the first stage, Lotte Class 15, who's also doing great. These are her kind of type of races, I guess, because she's doing some very nice results here. Next day, we had an attack of Caroline Anderson. She's back after her crash in Ronde van Vlaanderen. We didn't bring her much luck when we had her on the podcast the week before. Then she crashed out and she had to come back. But she came back and she was already looking very strong. It was a bit annoying. Like, it was such a good attack, but like no one wanted to follow. So I was just there like, oh, don't be this boring. But yeah, on her own, it was quite impossible. So yeah, she got called back and it was the first win for Vlodarczyk, of course. Misha got in second, Van Anrooy third, which was also super, super nice. We had a little break situation going on with Vlodarczyk and Van Anrooy. Yeah, they were pacing evenly, but yeah, Van Anrooy was just not gonna take that sprint. But I feel like she did what she could, and like if she would have paced a bit less, yeah, she probably would have ended up like fourth or fifth. So I feel like she got out of it all. But it was Ellen van Dijk was also commentating on the Dutch live, and she was like also talking about how Shirin is still like experiencing some trouble from that iliac artery surgery. So still it's super nice, and she was so happy as well for her to see her like up there and like being some sort of close to win. So that was very nice. And then yeah, Misha is just she was like controlling a lot of it on her own, and then she got back to Shirin and she became second, so quite successful. Lippert was also very strong in this stage and the day after as well, actually, because she did like a solo attempt and then she crashed in the descent and then she got back. So yeah, shame I think for her that she missed the break in the first stage, because she also needed to let the chase on her own that day. Oh, it's this kind of day. Then the final stage, yeah, it was like it was at this point on the final climb that Misha like it looked like she was breaking, but in the end it were just some small bursts, and she can be like she should send like a thank you card to FDG because like what the fuck were they doing in that final? I was like freaking out when I saw this. I was like they were there with 3 and it was super realistic that Dixon could have won the GC. Like if she got into the bonifications and Kostelen did not, there was like a very good chance she would win the GC, and still they were there with 3 and they were just not working, like launching an attack here and there, and I was like, come on guys. Like of course on one side I was like, let's go, this is how Misha's still gonna win the stage, and she rides victory, we were happy, but like I was like watching at this and like I don't know what went wrong. Was it like the idea of not going for like the first envisioned rider they wanted to win it with? Was there not a clear plan, or I don't know what went wrong? Because like it's kind of ridiculous. Vlodarczyk won again. Congrats to her. Like day before first World Tour win, now another one. But then you become second with Muzik, third with Dixon. So like if Dixon would have finished in that top 3 still, yeah. Side note, so second and third, nothing in GC. They did win, I think, the best team classification. I saw that. Yeah, I mean,
Yay.
there was more to it, I feel like. But yeah, big shout out to Misha. Shows that if you just keep your head down in her beautiful bike position, she does it, and just keep going full gas. Yeah, a lot of possibilities. So she did very well. Have my doubts with the FDG strategy, but that might be
agreed. Great strategy for team classification, but maybe not taking out the GC.
Yeah, well, taking the GC classification from Movistar in a Spanish race, well, it's always a big thing in Spain, apparently. So, well, maybe that was the big goal after all. We don't know.
Yeah. So Misha won the GC in the end. We had Kostelen on 2, and then we had Lauren Dixon on 3. So yeah, still for her, it's a great result. But I feel like with a bit more help of her teammates, there could have been more in it.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then Niedermeyer, the strongest climber of the race, ended up 5th. And then our first or second she rides guest, of course, is Lotte Klaas on that 14th spot. She's like circling around like the 10th and like the 15th spot lately. So very solid performances of her. Then we also had Durango, and we just keep on winning. Like it's crazy since Misha won that stage in the Vuelta, like almost every race they've just been winning. So very entertaining to watch, gotta say. Because it was Paula Blasi who took the win, it was live streamed on YouTube, which was very nice, with Spanish commentary, so that's quite overstimulating.
Yeah, probably.
Well, good training for the Spanish, so that's something. So it was like a mix of the development team plus Paula, basically. I think it was literally development team plus Paula.
Paula and the kids.
Just the mother
But
of the group.
they did very well controlling the race. We had a break. I do recall Fariba Hashimi was in there. Not sure who. Two Spanish girls, I think. Not sure who it was. Yeah. So the UE team was controlling it very well. And then we mainly had like lots of pacing from Valieras paired with Paula as well. I felt like Valieras was really on a good day, but she also wasn't really dropping the others. So yeah, it will be hard for her to win a race, I think, in the world's jersey, because she's like quite good, but she like misses that little thing to then like just really drop them. And yeah, the sprint is also not super awesome. It would be cool though, like if you're in the world champions jersey, would be nice to see her take a win somewhere in it. But yeah, and then so there was like it was like a climb, and then we had a little like some descending going on, and then there unfortunately we had a crash with Valieras and Rianne Marcus as well. Those two were leading together with Muziek, Paula Blasi. Then Alice Towers came back. So they were with the three of them. And then Paula dropped those two on, again, an uphill section. And then she sailed away to the finish. So yeah, great win. She's quite unstoppable lately.
Yeah, she's come into her strengths like this year pretty much. I think she was always up there last year. And I think UAE definitely had, they had 2 or 3 riders always in the top 10. And I think all of a sudden she sort of pushed into the top 3, and I think it's definitely given UAE a lot of confidence for their women's team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there are some rumors going on about like a buyout.
Yeah.
That so we'll see how that goes and unfolds in the future. We also have Nia Doma who's free, so could be like an exciting transfer season again.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, agree.
Well, I always like it if you have some sort of rumors on the women's side, because I feel like it's always lacking and you just need to wait till it's the 1st of August, and then most of the time like 2 months extra to like get something. So I'm like, if it's rumors, I'm like, oh, that's sad for who's involved, but I'm like, we're getting something.
Podcast material.
So that's nice. But yeah, Dixon also proving how good she actually is. Not for it. I think it was more or less, a bit less than a year ago we actually discovered her in, what was it, Tour of Norway, I think, where she had an amazing performance, just out of the top of my head. And yeah, now she got to FDG and she's been having a couple of very good races. So yeah, one to watch for sure. Ariana Marcus, she had a shit crash at the Vuelta, but now those races after, she's really following the best. So also very nice. And something else, Silvestri is back on the bike and back in the peloton again after her. Sorry,
I was shocked at like that crash when I saw it, and I also was even shocked. Like, it was terrible. Her injuries were terrible, but I expected it a lot worse. To be honest, I expected them to be a lot worse. I think it was shocking to see a rider fall and then just not move, because normally I think when you crash, your first instinct is to stand up, to sit up and get up, and just to see her not move at all was quite upsetting. And I think even there was another Jumbo rider that fell off the same cliff, and she managed to escape like pretty unharmed, which was also shocking to me. But yeah, I think it was really unfortunate for her. It was, yeah, and it's great to see that she's back on the bike, and you know she still wants to ride, and she still had all that support from her team and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm just gonna make a little bridge for your rant, Kristof, but you just announced, but I feel like it's a valid rant. We of
Oh,
course had
thank you. Wow, that's a first, Saar.
no, I'm always supportive of rants, you know I am. But of course we had Omloop der Kempen, which is a 1.1 in the Netherlands last week. The national team of the Netherlands was also participating, and they did the controversial thing again, where you would expect them to use it some sort of as a development team to give some younger riders the chance. They showed up with like Wiebes and Gerritsen and other riders. And yeah, you can take over from here. I don't want to be the ranting one again.
But yeah, I'm basically like, why? Why do you need Wiebes in your national team for a 0.1 race? Like, literally, why? This is meant for developing young riders, give them the opportunity in a national team context, like they do Tour de Féminin was at the same moment as well in Czechia. That was full of national teams as well, like Norway, Sweden, the Belgian national team. I mean, they didn't call up Lotte Kopecky. She would have won easily that type of racing. You just don't do that. That's not your business, Dutch Cycling Federation. I mean, you have to develop your talent. You don't have to take a 0.1 race win with Lorena Wiebes. I mean, why on earth would you do that? Like, you take away chances from other riders that, like Conti teams, that might be competitive for once at a 0.1 level, which is not like a given anymore in 2026 after all the rule changes. And then you just show up with your national team with Lorena Wiebes in a flat race, which basically you will win anyway, because who else is capable? Well, maybe Charlotte Cole because she was at the start for the Phoenix team. But I mean, I don't get it. This is not meant to be used like that. I mean, it's a kind of a disgrace for the Dutch national team. I mean, what do you want to achieve? It's just like a 15-year-old like winning a basketball game from a 5-year-old and then brag about it. Like, woohoo, look what we can. I mean, what's the point? What's the fun?
I kind of love this comparison, actually.
like no disrespect to the Conti riders, of course. That's not my point. But you know, it's Wiebes. I mean, she's from another planet, even on World Tour level. So why are you showing up in the Dutch national team for such like, with all due respect, not a race at Wiebes? It's not it's but it came on my radar from
following the live sticker. Easy.
Well, not a lot means only you probably, Saar. No, but no disrespect to the race. But it came on my radar from the team manager from High Tech Products that started it. I was like, oh wow, she was racing for the Netherlands, and then I was like, why? And this pisses off all the Conti riders as well, because you take away an opportunity for some glory for them, because for them a 0.1 race is like important. It's a showcase for them. It's an opportunity for them. And then you show up with Wiebes, and then you know beforehand that she's gonna win. I mean, it's silly. It's just silly. Just silly.
Yeah,
Do better.
You're fighting for second in that instance. Even third, because Cool is there racing too. And I think you've wasted a spot on your national team for a younger developing rider, and you show up with Wiebes in it, and it destroys some hopes from other riders. Like, it's just sort of like, oh, Wiebes is in there, like, we're not going to win. And I think it's even Wiebes without a team would have still won that race. Like, she can do it on her own if she wanted to. And I think it was a bit sad to see her in a race where opportunities for younger riders to sort of give it a crack. And as you said, it's a big deal for Conti teams and even club teams as well to have a really strong result in there, and you have someone like Wiebes and Cool racing, and I think it takes away from the race itself.
Yeah. At your age, at this moment, at this stage in your career, Anna, like 0.2 is like your competitive level. 0.1 is like, well, I can showcase myself here. So that's, it's. And even I told Saar before the recording of this episode today as well, like in 20 years, when you look back on your career, Will you look back on that, like Lorena Wiebes being like, oh my God, I won Omloop der Kampen with the Dutch national team 20 years ago. I mean, she's not gonna care after all she won
No.
already. So it's sad, unnecessary, and it's super frustrating because yeah, the Conti level and the club level is already a super frustrating environment to operate in as from this season on. So yeah, guys, do better.
Yeah.
I mean, use the national
Yeah.
teams
Mhm.
for what they're supposed to be.
Yeah, maybe, or it's just false hope. We saw the announcement that Chantal van den Broek-Blaak is becoming the national coach of the U23 women in Netherlands. So let's cross our fingers that she can sort of influence what happens with that Dutch national team. I feel like if someone could, it would be her. So that's like
Yeah.
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. I mean, you don't need results with that national team in that type of races. You need development. You need progress. You
Yeah.
need to see sparks from your youngsters. Another 50,000 win from Lorena Wiebes. I mean, nah, leave that for the Tour de France.
Can you
And
just like add something to the complaint list while we're at it? So they have a 0.2 months race as well, and guess what? That had live coverage, and 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 before they started the live coverage, they had like a quick recap of the women's race as well, and I was like, it's a 0.2 and a 0.1 race, like. I don't know what's happening right here, but literally a higher level. So that was also something that already like, yeah. And then we always gotta shout out our O'Shea girlies, of course. So it's like she has not been on the podcast, but she's an O'Shea girl, so we like her. Izzy Escalera was in the break for a very, very long time, till 1 kilometer of the finish, and then she got caught.
Not long enough.
And then she still became 14th, which is
actually nice.
well, still nice.
It's very impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but she was always like, she was also my home race, Scalabella, where you did quite well as well. By the way, always gotta mention that race, of course.
The Spring Classic.
The Spring Classic, exactly. And she was also like in the attack quite a lot. So yeah, would have been nice if she at least could have got some TV coverage. But hey, why would we? Anyways, just
Drop the mic, up, and now leave, up, run away.
Well, something that the Dutch, or at least someone that the Dutch national team actually gave a chance, was a still active skater, which is Antoinette Rijpma de Jong. She's still actively like skating on the ice, of course. Just like be clear.
Like every Dutchie.
And she became 5th in her first like proper road race. She was the elite without contract, like I guess you call it club. She was the national champion already there, but it was like her first proper race, and she became 5th, which is, I think, very impressive.
Especially in a bunch sprint, yeah.
Yeah.
In a bunch sprint, that's very
which should have
impressive.
been the talking point, her 5th place, not Lorena Wiebes winning. She should be the talk of the town with the Dutch team. I mean, now it goes like completely overshadowed. Sorry.
But yeah, that was not all for the ice skaters there. It's a former one, or like at least someone on a break, but Sandrine Tas became 3rd actually. So
that was impressive too, I think.
Yeah. Some great results by the ice skaters.
Actually, she won. She came in 3rd, but actually she won. She came in 1st after Wiebes and Cole, so she basically won.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. It was like a funny side to me. You had like Wiebes, Cole, like the 2 best sprinters of the world, basically, and then you have Sandrine Tas, and then it's like one of those pictures where you're like, oh, world is unfair, God.
Everyone else.
Well.
Okay, I think that we spent a long time on the campus, so their name got dropped enough. So maybe next year we can like try to look at how we do things for coverage. Like if we mention you guys a couple of more times, we can look into that.
We can arrange something. Reach out to us. We can fix something.
So yeah, over to Burgos. Well, we will need to be a bit shorter on this because otherwise it's gonna be like a very long racing block. So the first 3 stages, good news for you, Kristof. Lorena Wiebes is starting, so she'll
But for
definitely
her,
be
for
able.
her, for her UCI team, so that's
Yeah,
fine.
but,
And it's a World Tour race, so that's where she belongs.
yeah. But
Yeah.
still, I think we will have a bit of the same story that if it ends up
Yeah.
in a bunch sprint, which is possible the first 3 days,
Yeah.
the odds are quite big that Lorena Wiebes takes it. Just to give you some other names that could compete are Balsamo, maybe Chestrap. We do have Bertizzolo, Constoni,
Wollaston.
maybe.
Wollaston, yeah, thank you, Anna.
Oh,
Wollaston.
Wollaston, of course. Oh, I'm really blind.
To throw an Aussie in there, potentially a Georgia Baker too.
Yeah.
Go for it, Anna. Yeah, of
Susanna
course.
Anderson. Let me
Linda
scroll.
Zanetti for the sprint.
Yeah, depends on where they are going for, right? Zanetti of Anderson.
Yeah.
In the spring, it was mainly Anderson.
Well, if
That could be
Zanetti
the
finds her
case.
legs again.
Van der Wolf, maybe, as well. O'Brien, but those are already some, like,
Now you're
further
going deep in the
away.
list.
Some hot takes. Like, who's gonna be the next to beat Lorena Wiebes? Of course, someone has done it before, and she's starting. Caris Lloyd. Okay, not in, like, a direct duel or something. It is. I mean...
No pressure, Karis.
Do you have, like, a high-tech shout-out who can do, like, something in the first 3 stages?
Kaja Rys, of course.
Well, yeah.
Never Julia Borgström. She did
Yeah, she
nice
was
as
doing
well.
well in it too,
That was
yeah.
a
It's the high-tech jersey, and I was like, that's gotta be her.
yeah, good transfer. And then of course in all 4 stages, never count out like the phenomenon of Oda Arne Gissinger. At her age, just like her first full cycling season it is, I guess. She's one to watch for on this level, of course.
Yeah. Well, she could also have some competition from her own team with Bredewold and Vos. You never know what, like, they brainstorm that as the works. Maybe they try to go for the win with, like, the 3 of them, and then we have them looking out like who's where. You never know. Like,
Now you're dreaming, Saar.
yeah, that's a bit too much of it. Like,
Yeah.
but if it means that someone else can take win, like Wiebes can have 2, and then we have another one, like, that would be nice. I feel like if you really want to take 2 stage wins, or maybe 1 stage win, 1 goes to the break, and then another one is like, yeah, it's a bit of delusional thinking, but you never know. Well, final stage is
Not a sprint.
another one.
Yeah, not a sprint, that's for sure.
Yeah, let me go check the yeah, it's a lot of class.
I think it's got 6Ks at an average of 10%.
Yeah.
It's like that's the finish, so I think even that alone is brutal enough to separate the bunch pretty easily.
Yeah.
It's the one they did last year in La Vuelta, isn't it? Lagunas de Neira.
I think
Or 2
it's
years
from the
ago?
other side.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got that information from Tim de Vries again. Always good if you need to know some racing stats or facts. Because
out to
I
Tim.
think he sent me that only 24 women ever climbed it, like, on Strava. Only 24 women showed up. So, yeah, will be nice to see. And it's an uphill finish. So what about Petra Stiasny?
It's a kind of brutal uphill finish.
Yeah.
So why not Petra Stiasny?
Do you feel the She Rides bias? Maybe.
No, let's rephrase this. Who else than Petra Stiasny on this type of finish?
We need to add a side note. She sadly needed to abandon last week because she crashed. Nothing like major, but she still, the day before, she was like, yeah, I hope to start tomorrow, but she couldn't. So, but yeah, she has 3 stages extra to survive and recover for the final stage. It goes uphill. It's her happy place. So come on.
Yeah. Just let's hype Petra. Come on, she deserves it.
Yeah. It's so crazy to me that you go say in an interview like, oh yeah, Angliru is my happy place. Like,
well,
that's not my happy place.
She was apparently the only one that gave such kind of answer.
Yeah, but it was, yeah, she kept her word because Cordova was interviewing him before the start, and she was like, yeah, I'm so excited. It's such a nice climb. And then Yeah, it seems she liked it very much. Yeah, as he works is mainly bringing a sprint train for Rebus, I think.
Yeah, but who's gonna win Burgos exactly, Saar? Like,
Yeah.
there's like everybody brought sprinters, but somebody forgot the final stage apparently.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I'm saying as he works does not have a climber to just give myself a bit more time to scroll through the whole list. We have Shirin van Amrooy, could maybe have a result. Muziek, of course. She's
Muziek, she
also
won on the other side of Lagunas de Nela in La Vuelta, so yeah,
Vlodarczyk.
I think.
on this kind of climb,
Ball?
yeah, she is.
Well,
Cabal. I was gonna say Cabal too.
oh
And
yeah.
even like Molman as well.
Yeah, Moolman. Yeah. Nice one as we didn't mention Sherry Bosset as one of the sprinters. Oh my god, my
Yeah.
AG and Belgian bias, I just completely ruined it completely.
By the way, Saar,
yeah.
Saar, for the final GC, is this
Yeah.
like Ostolaza time?
Ooh. Yeah,
Huh?
I did
About
say
time.
that was gonna happen in Itzulia, but yeah, maybe this week. Lotte Glass. At the moment, she's on the list with number 1, so maybe that means something. Or maybe they are just going for Castellan, but like, let's just stay delusional. So Moonen, indeed, as well, she was ill before Itzulia, so that's why she didn't start there. Caroline Anderson, but more for the first 3 stages, like tried to do a breakaway with some more companionship, maybe. Also gotta mention Nadia Gontova is racing as well. Ottestad, maybe, but I'm also not really feeling it for the overall victory. Instead, only maybe if she can take some time in one of the first 3. Yeah, Ostolaza, who knows? Kerbal. And I guess that's it for the possibilities.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Exactly. That's it.
I'm like thinking if I should like just go, okay.
Have Muziek and Ostolaza basically, like, and I want one of those to finally win, like a GC, like. Both are overdue. Like Muziek is longer overdue than Ostolaza, of course, but yeah, those are two that stand a big chance, I think, and it's finally like harvest time, maybe for them. Let's hope so.
Do we want to kick off our stars? You want to start, Anna? You don't have to, but I felt some eagerness there, so I was like, okay, you
Yeah,
can.
no. I think Music for the win.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I also want her to get her first win. And are we also do we do 5th? Is that what we're
Oh, we can do the predictions first. Yeah, let's do the predictions first.
Sorry.
I said the stars, but predictions is fine as well. Go on.
I think Music for the win. I think Cabal for 5th. I think she will be there. I don't think she'll get a podium, but I think she will be up there. 10th, I'm not entirely sure. 10th is I think you have a lot of good sort of 6 riders, and I think 10th sort of gets a little bit open. I think more of a rider that's going to be helping, like sort of being the last man standing on like the hill sort of lead out sort of support. And I would be keen if the Aussie Amanda Spratt would be up there a little bit on GC. But I think for the if I'm also picking for the sprint stages, Weebus obviously, but I would love Ali Wollaston just to get one up on her eventually. And in one of them, I would love to see Ali Wollaston take a win.
Yeah, exactly. We're big fans of Ali as well.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, nice. My turn, Saar. 1, 5, and 10. I didn't think that one through. So I will go for Ostolaza then on 1. Just not to pick Muziek then. On yeah, well, make it at least a little bit exciting for the listeners. On 5 I go for Vlodarczyk. On 10. No, we can go on 10. Me Ottestad from UNOX.
Okay, so I'm also
That's
gonna
maybe too low.
say Muziek, PC, then on 10, Harvey. Then we can do stars. Let's say 3 stars for Muziek, 2 for Ostolaza and Castellan. Then I'll say 1 for Vlodarczyk. Now it gets hard. Kerbal. Kerbal, you know what? Let's just to Lotto class again. Vibes. Oh, and then I still need to find a wild card as well. It's for the GC, right? So then I just do Petra for wild card as GC. Does it count as a wild card? I'm not sure. Does it count as
Should
well?
I start ranting now about your wildcard pick,
It's-
Saar?
it's-
Finally?
Because I'm like asking, because I'm strict on it.
Hold yourself to the same standard as you hold me. Just shabbiest wildcard pick in a while for you, Saar. Sorry.
But like, if we look objectively at the time she lost in the stages in the Vuelta, I feel like
Since when
for
do you look at
GC?
things objectively? Come on, you're defending your narrative.
Yeah, that's why I checked in with you. So I'll be modeled today for you as well. Ooh,
But you
I
can't.
can change it if you wanted to Silke Smulders.
Okay, that's a wildcard. That's good. Good.
Your turn, come on.
Yeah, okay. 3 stars Ostolaza, 2 stars Muziek and Vlodarczyk, 1 star for Ottestad, Kastelein and Mulmen, and my wildcard goes to Julia Borgström.
Nice.
Do I go? Can I
Yes,
do
you're
mine?
up, Anna.
Okay, music for 3 stars. Casualine. I'm probably going to slaughter the pronunciation of the names just in advance. Casualine and the UAE rider. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Yep. And then I would go for 1, Molman, Van Arouge. Is that how you say it?
Van Amro.
Yep. And class
Class.
as well.
Hey,
Yeah.
yeah. Raise the roll.
Yep.
Go.
Yep. And then wild card, that UAE rider, not UAE, the Jaco rider, the Gontova.
Yeah, Nadia Gontova.
Nadia
yeah.
Gontova. Yeah.
She rides
that would
guests,
be-
Anna. Good choice.
Yeah, she's doing
That
so
would be
well.
my
Like,
wild
she's
card.
really scoring with the Shiraz bias here. Nice.
Look at that. She's already in the flow.
Yeah. We also have some more 0.1 races coming up. We're not gonna discuss them again because, as I said, we're like
No.
having like a massive block here. But we have Veenendaal. At the moment, yeah, mainly some sprinters. Like the few she rides sprinters we actually have are like starting. It's looking like with Maggie Lister and like Imogen as well. So nice. Then we also have the Antwerp Port Epic. Nice race to watch. So also cool. And there the Belgian national team is starting as well, Kristof. And I think you're a bit more fond of that team selection, right?
Yeah, they have Lotte Kopecky, don't they? They should. Come on, it's a national team. Bring out your best. Oh, sorry. I'm sour. Sorry.
And then we also have Mazda Schelkes as well. So come on. Well, we have some action in Spain. We also have like some races here in Netherlands and in Belgium. I feel like
Yes.
a race like that is nicer to watch than to watch like a World Tour sprint stage. So some more enthusiasm. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's definitely more enjoyable when you're racing it and you're in the sprint at the end.
What's up for
Is,
you, by the way?
Is Keukensterdant in one of the 3, Anna?
Pardon?
Is Keukensterdant in one of the 3 races? Antwerp,
Yeah,
Port Epic, Mazda?
The Monday one.
Mazda, is
Yeah.
it?
That's
Yeah.
probably Mazda
Yeah.
Schelkes. Yeah. Okay. Are you on the start
Yeah.
line? Ooh,
Yeah,
nice.
I'm racing that one.
Now this is an exciting race. Now you get my attention.
Pressure is on.
Yeah, I know. Trying to fly under the radar. Like, no, it's not a big deal. But yeah, the one with Monday, I think you have Cool racing it too. I think you have some more bigger teams in it.
Yeah.
They do seem to have taken a bit more of the development riders, but you know what I mean, if it's a World Tour development team, it's still a pretty good team. So yeah, I think it'd be my first like big taste with several well-known teams in it. So it'd be interesting to see how the race plays out. I am predicting a sprint for Cool. But I think it'd be pretty hectic towards the start to try to get a breakaway and sort of spice things up for people who aren't so keen on their sprinting capabilities.
Nice. Was just trying to tell who's actually on the start list, but now I can't find right here. I have it for you. Yeah, Cole is on it at the moment. Steinberg, Cole's Lister. De Klerk UAE is bringing a proper development team. I feel like they still have Sophie Varroy, who's like not exactly slow as well. Letizia Borghese is also on the start list.
Yeah, that's correct.
So yeah, quite a strong field.
Yeah. It's going to be
Anna Dubier.
exciting.
Anna Dubier at the start as well.
So yeah, we'll be watching with some extra attention. Even Kristof.
Yeah.
If
if it starts going bad, just sort of turn the TV off.
No, it won't, Anna. It won't. Come on.
No, I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Exactly. But that's actually why when you get my attention for this kind of races, Saar, when like prospects like Anna is racing, like I'm not interested in the World Tour teams racing 0.1 race. I'm like, whatever. But then when you have those fresh up and young and coming riders, that's what makes it exciting.
That's exactly what I said, right? It's nice to watch because it's a 1.1 than it is when it would be a World Tour sprint like Copenhagen sprint. Not that I will not watch the full 70 kilometers. They will probably live stream, but like, hey.
Yeah, when you have the live stream, you have to watch it because you're complaining that there's not enough live stream. So
yeah, I'm just like, making sure every live stream at least has like one person viewing.
Cute.
All right, let's get back.
That's finally it.
Our guest.
Yeah. Wow. Let's get back to Anna then. Anna, are you like you're described as incredibly analytical, but you also love photography and then video editing. So do those two sides feed into each other, or is content escape your escape, the content creation?
I think I'm very like analytical in a race. Like I can get off a race and I can tell you what went wrong and what I should have done differently. Like I can pick out key parts really easily, and I think I have my own I don't need to really debrief with coach. I'm sort of telling my coach the whole debrief. I don't really need a prompt or anything. I do enjoy a bit of work with social media, and I think my attention to sort of detail in that sort of aspects helps, and that's why that sort of sparks my interest. I'm planning on studying a Bachelor of Commerce next year and sort of majoring or minoring in marketing and sort of seeing where that sort of takes me. I think it works hand in hand. I think that sort of detail and that sort of needing things to be done in a specific way and knowing how I want things really helps with sort of that sort of passion. And in saying that, my mum would then input and be like, well, why couldn't you take that much attention to detail when cleaning your room? But I think it's a selective detail that I choose.
Ugh, parents.
Yeah. That's why I'm on the other side of the world.
Oh, she's probably gonna listen, Anna. Be careful.
No, I miss them. I miss them dearly. I always say that. They always
we just had a Mother's Day special with Imogen Wolves.
I did send my mum some. I got her a little like tea basket that I got ordered to the house, and that surprised her. And I think she was quite shocked that I remembered that it was Mother's Day.
Nice, good. All your points.
Yeah.
But then we have to take away some points with our other item, Anna. In a sport obsessed with espresso, you don't drink coffee.
Yeah, I know. It shocks people.
What does fuels Anna's coffee ride then?
It's a hot chocolate. It's probably a hot chocolate or like an iced chocolate. I have a really strong sweet tooth, but yeah, I think it shocks a lot of cyclists that you don't drink coffee, and then they're like, oh, when you go to Belgium, you start drinking coffee. And this is my 4th time in Belgium, and I still haven't drunk coffee, so I don't think it's really gonna hit. So yeah, it disappoints a lot of people, but I think my drink of choice for a coffee ride would be a hot chocolate ride instead.
Okay, well, at least as an Aussie you like coffee rides, because half of the Aussies in my team are like, coffee ride, why would you do that? That's like insanely boring. Just drink a coffee when you get back home and then just skip this halfway coffee drinking. He's like, what? Like, adapt to the culture you're in. Come on.
Yeah. In Australia, coffee rides aren't that popular. It's sort of just you just ride and come home, and it's quite shocking here that we all just sit at a cafe for like an hour and then ride home.
Just blend in with the locals. Come on, it's like stop complaining. Drink coffee. Damn it. And then they're just
Have a
sitting
good
there at the
time.
table like, are we done yet? It's like, no. Anyways, but something completely else. You were balancing World Championship campaigns with the Year 12 exams.
Yes.
What did that daily schedule actually look like?
It was a lot of stress, and it was a lot of time management that my mum would probably say I handled a little bit poorly. Could have always been better, but it was sort of, you train and then you come home and you study, and then it was, even when I was like in school and everything, it was sort of you go to school, you train, and then you study in the evenings, and then my weekend was pretty much you ride in the morning and then study all day. But I was really happy with obviously the world title, and then I was even more happy with the results that I got in school at the end of year exams, because I was really stressed about the whole going to Worlds and sort of being in Europe again for 2 extra weeks, and I knew that during the World Championships I would not be studying at all. Like, it was not going to happen. So it was a lot of cramming before and then cramming prior to exams, and I remember being up quite late, and I'd be going through like the whole year's worth of learning in like 2 hours and like condensing it, and it was a lot of like, they won't ask me this on the test, like I don't need to learn that, and it was just sort of like picking and choosing as if I was the one making the exam and predicting what they were going to test me on. So it worked in the end. I don't recommend it to anyone, but it seemed to work, so I was happy with that.
Well, yeah, as long as it works, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Brisbane 2032 is coming to, of course, Olympics on home
Yes.
soil.
Yes. Yes.
Is it already shaping the decisions you make today, like in light of 2033 already, or is that still a little bit too early?
It's still a little bit too early. I definitely know that I want to be at that Olympics, and home soil would make it even more special, and I know that my family would come and watch me as well, so that would be pretty cool. But yeah, I think it's definitely shaping things that are happening in Australia now. You see a lot of the national team moving to Brisbane and sort of basing themselves more there. It's slowly progressing that way. And you see different infrastructure starting to be planned, not built yet, but planning, and sort of hearing the rumors of what's going to happen in cycling and in the sport moving forward prior to Brisbane Olympics. And I think, yeah, it's quite a bit of a buzz for Australia to have an Olympics coming again. And yeah, I really want to be at the Olympics, whether it's on the road or the track. I think it's sort of too early to tell which one I would really specialize in. I definitely am leaning towards the road, but it's obviously proven with a variety of riders, especially female riders, that you can do both. You sort of pick and choose which races you race and which ones you prioritize. And I think with the right sort of management, with training and things like that, it can be done. So yeah, it's sort of time will tell. Again, yeah, I agree. It's a bit early to know now, but yeah, definitely want to be at that Olympics.
Yeah,
That's something that I do know.
It's already, the seed has been planted in the back of your mind already.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
back of your head. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's on the
cool.
bucket list.
Yeah. Sure. You're probably not the only one who has that on their bucket list. Oh, cool. Going to be a nice pathway to follow the upcoming 6 years. And so, hey, you as a freshly, well, not so freshly anymore, graduated U19 and first year U23, like experienced the first steps in elite racing. From your point of view, Anna, what's still the biggest barrier that young girls face to try to break into international cycling?
It's sort of the confidence, and I think there's a big jump from under 19 straight into the elite field. I think the men sort of have that comfort barrier of having U23 races available to them, and I think there's not as many available to women. And, it can be quite daunting when you go into your first elite race and you have riders that are just so much better than you and more experienced and older. And I think you forget those main key aspects. It's sort of like, no, I'm terrible. I'm this, I'm that. And I think it gets quite disheartening. I think that's what pushes a lot of young girls away. And I think, you go from being the top in under 19s, you go from being, the favorite, the one to watch, the one that everyone watches, and then now you're the one just trying not to get dropped. It's also that shift, that mental shift, that loss of confidence in yourself. and things like that. And it's could either make or break a rider. It's sort of like you either go, yep, I need to keep training hard, I need to keep pushing myself, like this is where I want to be, or it sort of goes into, no, that's too hard, like it's too much, like I can't do it. So I think it's a tough turning point, and I think that's where you see a lot of female cyclists make that decision whether to stay with the sport or not, is roughly this age.
Super valid point, by the way, Anna. I experienced that this weekend at Tour de Féminin with one of the 19 years old girls that I coach. So she's basically the same age as you are. And the only thing she was like, oh, I feel shit. I was only P63 or P92, and I had to.
Yeah.
I lost the front halfway, and then my legs gave out. But I'm like, don't think that way. You're 19 years old. You're not all Cat
Yeah.
Ferguson. I mean, you need these years to develop and
Yeah.
grow. And then the fact that you're finishing Tour de Féminin already is like already new XP points under your belt. And like you said, she was also thinking about, like, I'm thinking about quitting cycling, and then it's like, why would you do that? Like, don't.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
So super valid point you make.
Maybe we do some quick this or that to just finish this off in an other kind of atmosphere. So just gonna give you some choices and just pick one of the two.
Okay.
Track or road?
Road. Road right now. Yeah.
Crowds in the velodrome or on the side of a Flemish couple?
What track race? Exactly.
We'll say a big one. We won't. I've been to some as well where we have like before noon 30 people there. So we love these crowds.
I would say if I was in the grandstand of a track world championships, I would rather be there. I think that would be pretty cool. Yeah.
All black frame or bright colors?
Black frame. Black frame with the new Duro pink tires that they have.
No,
Yeah.
don't ruin
Yeah.
your black frame. Aww. And glossy or matte?
Matte. Yeah, I don't like
Excellent choice.
Yep.
Belgian rain or Australian heat waves?
Australian heat waves. I can do the
Sure.
heat.
Well, if you're made for it, I guess why not?
Yeah. The Belgian weather's too unpredictable.
Yeah, this month it is.
True.
Yeah.
But you're getting some very warm days ahead of you, so if that can be helpful for you.
That's sort of just regular Australian temperature.
Yeah, here it's
But
already
excited.
big news. Oh my god, over 25 degrees. This is crazy.
It's a heat wave.
I have an Aussie showing up in a winter jacket today at the recon of Tour of Flanders. I mean, don't exaggerate. It's just 18 degrees. I mean, it's fine. You don't need a winter jacket.
Well, yeah, we got this one already. Filming a vlog or editing photos?
Editing photos. And
Music
doing more of a collage, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Nice. Music on training ride or just you and nature and the wind?
Me and nature, I think. And especially I think when it's a different place you've ridden. Yeah. Every route I do in Belgium has been different. So it's still interesting to me.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I think that's it. And then we have just one more closing question that you really need to think of very deeply. But when in 10 years people hear the name Anna Dubier, how do you want them to, or what do you want them to think when they hear your name?
I want them to think of a person, not just a rider, that had inspired younger girls, and not even just cyclists, but just younger female athletes in general, that it's possible to make it as an athlete, assuming that I did make it pretty high up in the sport. But yeah, just being an inspiration, really. I think not necessarily just my results, but being someone that girls look up to and aspire to be, and being I want to be like Anna when I grow up. I think them saying that sentence is extremely powerful and would be such a huge compliment to myself and my own character as a person. And I think that's what I want people to think of when they say my name in 10 years' time.
Yeah. Wow. I think beautiful way to finish this episode off.
Yeah, what a mature answer for a 19-year-old.
18.
Nice. 18 even.
years
Yeah,
old.
look at
Yeah.
that. Wow. Still having your birthday in 2026. Yeah. Oh, I didn't check that. Yeah, nice.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Go on.
Yeah, but so then there's
Probably
only
gonna say the same
on
thing, but
yeah, probably.
Okay.
So that's only one thing we have left. Is just wrapping up this episode and then wishing Anna like the best of luck with the upcoming races, with the upcoming experiences for this season, but of course with the whole rest of her career. And then to our listeners, like keep an eye out for this one because
but not too
well,
much under the
no,
radar.
not too much because she doesn't want it. Yeah, true. Yeah, okay. No, forget about this episode.
Just suddenly.
Yeah, like she's a super unknown guest, low profile rider. I mean, no, don't suck her wheel. It's unnecessary. You will end up in the ditch or anywhere else, but you won't win. No. No, but hey, to be honest, huge thank you for joining us on a very short notice, Anna. So
That's okay.
super
Thank you for having
super
me.
happy to have had you.
Thank you.
Okay. So that's a wrap of episode 75 of She Rides. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the ride.
Absolutely, women's cycling is packed with action, and we're here to bring you every twist and turn.
Be sure to subscribe on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube so you don't miss upcoming episodes. And if you like today's show, a rating, like, or comment really helps us reach more listeners.
Follow us on Blue Sky and Instagram for behind-the-scenes updates, our Guess the Guest game, and more.
And don't hesitate to share your questions or topics you'd like us to cover. Thanks for listening to She Rides, a podcast where women's cycling takes the lead. Keep watching the fun, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.